but we have been going live, so to make up for it. As you may have seen, we haven't done a football talk in a couple months now, but that's just because of college restrictions, work, and yeah, just our own time as well. So that's why you've only been seeing the lives recently from us to make up for it. But yeah, all that out of the way. Chat about Chels. Just gonna check on the audio 2 seconds now. Yeah, we good. All right. So as you've seen the title, I'm talking about is Champions League football realistically still there for us? Yes, it is. I think it is. I think there's a good chance that we can get it. I said in the Real Madrid and City second leg stream when me and the guys went on when us five were on and we did our what was it top six stream. I had Chelsea down in fifth, and as you may know, there's a high possibility that top five will get Champions League football for next season. So Chelsea are currently fifth right now, 1 point behind Man City, two behind Nottingham Forest, and one ahead of Newcastle, and three ahead of Bournemouth and Brighton. The top four race is very, very competitive. It is very competitive. I'm seeing people go, "Oh, this is the worst Prem season ever. Oh, this is the best." I'm there like, I get why people are saying it's the worst because it's there like, damn, the top six teams aren't dominating like they used to. You get that? Everyone likes to see the big guns just battle it out with each other, being competitive. Every big game being the knockout game. You get me? Like the smaller games, for lack of a better term, the smaller games would be, oh, we're just leveling up, getting ready for these big games that will decide whether we're getting the title, that will decide whether we're fighting for top four, etc. But now that the gap has closed between the smaller teams, and the bigger top six clubs, it's made this a whole lot competitive. And I feel like you have to give Liverpool credit, considering how good the mid-table clubs have become. Losing only one game, having 67 points right now, is truly tremendous. So I think you have to give Liverpool a lot of credit there. Because you've seen the likes of Arsenal struggle at times this season, City, Chelsea. Sure, we have Spurs and United languishing in 13th and 14th, effectively out of the race for Europe already. Like you don't see that often. You really, really don't. The fact that I feel like people aren't talking about the positions that Spurs and United are in the league right now. Yes, we've all said they're bad, they're made, they're shit. But when you actually look at it, bro, these guys are literally 1 point from being 16th, bro. Like, please just sound out. Manchester United, club with the most Premier Leagues in history before Liverpool eventually win this league, of course. Most Premier Leagues in history, or joint. Actually, they might be joint with Liverpool. My apologies, but Manchester United, that club should not be anywhere near me saying that they could be in 16th right now. Should not be the case. Tottenham Hotspurs, yes, we can make fun of Tottenham, whatever we want, but Tottenham should not be 13th, bro. And what makes it funny is that Spurs have the second most goals this season in the league, but these guys just genuinely don't know how to defend for their lives, man. Because in games, when they score a lot. But when they lose like 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. Maybe they don't lose by a lot, which makes them a funny team. But yeah, the league is just a lot more competitive now, which is why it's so hard to predict the top six race in itself. And me having Chelsea fifth, I wish I didn't have us. I hope we don't finish fifth. I want us being directly in the top four. And I'm looking at our upcoming fixtures. I think before the final four games, we could do something. We can make a nice run, but all depends on how we react. It all depends because you look at it. We have Copenhagen in the Conference League on next Thursday. That's our next game. Then we have Leicester. We played Southampton there. We won 4-0. Like, that's a good foundation to build on. A win against Southampton, especially after losing three in a row and losing four for last five. You get me? After losing four out of the last five, I win against Southampton 4-0. Yes, I know it is Southampton, but you have to build a foundation somewhere. Now we have Copenhagen, Leicester, get another couple wins there. Obviously after Leicester we have Copenhagen again for the second leg. If we can get those three wins and nice wins and get players getting their confidence back, getting back into the rhythm, guys like Palmer, Neto, who I do want to talk about later on, Enzo, Caicedo, then yeah, like that's a good start because then we go into the two big games. We have Arsenal just before the international break. That is going to be a huge game, especially depending on how Arsenal are, depending on Arsenal's form just before the international break as well. They could fall right back into this battle with us. Like, I do think they'll finish second, but you never know in football. These next couple of games, depending on how they go first, they could be right in that battle. That game could be a game changer for both of us. And then straight after, we have Spurs. And I'm going to be so honest with you. No matter how bad we are, I never fear Spurs. I never do. I always go and think, yeah, we win. We're winning this. Easy. When we went 2-0 down back in November, I think it was, I was like, yeah, light work, man. 2-0 down, light, man. We're coming back up. And then after those games, we have a run of Brentford, Ipswich, Fulham, and Everton. 3 out of those 4 teams you drop points to in December. Like, that, first of all, we should not be dropping points like that at all to these teams. At all. But the fact we did, that's what has got us in this position. We were second by that Everton game, yeah? And now we're languishing in fifth, and we have, like 2 wins since December 15th in the league, which is an embarrassment. So those games are the games we need to clutch up, need to get these wins, need to make sure the guys are focused and don't mess up, don't do no nonsense. You get me? Like Lawrence here said, you need players to turn up. Yes, we do. And I said I want to talk about Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto has been playing center forward for us because Christopher Nkunku and center forward does not work. Nkunku has played more of a left wing role, and that seems to be our best case right now. Because who would have thought Pedro Neto would have been a center forward option? Not me. I'm gonna tell you right now, not me. When Jackson and Gil injured, it would have been Nkunku. But Nkunku has shown time and time again he is not a striker. That guy is a second striker or a 10. I will just keep it a buck. We need Cole Palmer. Oh, bro. Palmer just needs his confidence back up. He's been very effective as well the past couple of months. Like, I don't know if you man seen the stat. In 2025, the top 4 players with no assists this season, but with the most chances created. Enzo Fernandez and Cole Palmer were joint second, both with 17, but got no assists, which is blasphemy. And we saw in the Southampton game, Palmer fluffed sitters, man. Fluffed sitter after sitter. But he posted he will be back. And I believe, I'm fully confident that he will be back. This is just a moment of poor form for him. But I swear, we need the guys like Pedro Neto. We need the guys like your Jadon Sanchos. We need guys like your Christopher Nkunku's, Enzo's to turn up. Like, this is where you can't. Okay, your main player isn't. It can't do everything for you right now. He isn't up to the goods right now. So what can you do for me? Can you give me a little bit of magic here? Can you give me a little bit of magic here? Can you do something here for me? Do something there for me. That's what we need from our players. You can't focus everything on Cole Palmer. But yeah, as Lauren said, we do need a couple of players to turn up. And I think Pedro and this centre forward role could be the game changer for us. It could be the game changer for us. But yeah, top 4, I think we could get top 4. Like, let me go through our top 4 competitors here. Ryan says he thinks they will storm through, but he wouldn't be surprised if they did find themselves top 4. I'm gonna go through our top 4 competitors next few fixtures. So, Arsenal's fixtures, they have PSV in the Champions League twice, and then they have United before they play us. Those 3 games, those are 3 big games for Arsenal. And the United game is away from home as well. So that is a huge game. Can Arsenal pull through? I think, see, if it was the Arsenal of last season or season before, I genuinely would have said, oh, easy. But this season, they've just been so lackluster. they've been really lackluster. Like they've won two out of the last five. They beat City 5-1. Great performance at the 5-1. Then they lost to Newcastle in the AFL Cup. They beat Leicester 2-0, but they needed Marino magic in the last 10 minutes. They lost to West Ham and they drew to Forest. Yes, I know Forest is a tough game. Forest aren't a team to be like, oh, we can beat them easy. But when it's Arsenal, you really think a team that should be fighting Liverpool, a team that has been talking a lot of smack early this season about Liverpool, they should be winning those games. PSV, I do think they will overcome PSV, but me and Hayes PSV fans this year, so I was rooting against Arsenal. And the United game's sticky. We had the FA Cup game. What was it? We had the 2-0 earlier, where Arsenal scored them 2 corner goals. And then after they play us, they have Fulham, Everton, Brentford, Ipswich, and Palace. Before their 3 of the last 4 games are real tough. But if Arsenal from Fulham, between Fulham and Palace, if they can just battle their way through those games, they should have top 4 wrapped up before they do play Bournemouth on the 3rd of May, realistically. But you never know in football. Like, realistically, I think they should be beating Fulham. I know Everton is at Goodison Park, but they should be beating Everton. Brentford is it. If you want, I think they might just squeeze through. Realistically, I think they should win all these games. Realistically, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, you never know. Lawrence, Chelsea need to find alternatives other than Palmer, because what I think teams set up to seal him out the game completely and think that's why teams are comfortable playing against you. You see what it is with Palmer, yeah? I feel like Palmer in the games recently, yes, he has been marked and teams set up differently against him, but he has these patches in games where he is the focal point. He's creating chances here and he's getting chances himself there. He's playing in patches, but when he's not being an integral point during those games, when we need Neto, Nkunku, Sancho, whoever up there to take the game by the neck. Like recently, it's had to be Enzo Fernandez, and Enzo Fernandez has been phenomenal. He's been everywhere, up, down. He's playing as a box to box. At times, you see him; he's a center forward to get into the box, as you could have seen with the goal against Villa. He's creating chances for fun, but no one's been able to finish it. So, who from that attack can take the game by the scruff of the neck and score for us? That's what we need. We need to score. That's why I've been on the director's asses heavily recently. Get me a flipping striker that can score goals for me, please. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for no stupid, like, I'm not asking for a superstar, bro. I mean, I will take a superstar. But I'm just asking for a striker that can score goals, bro. That you're confident. Like, I know we've had rumors about us contacting AC Milan over Rafael Leao the other day. That's a superstar. That's a guy that can create and score goals. But can we get an out-and-out center forward to get us goals? That's what I'm asking from the directors. All right, next top 4 rival. Nottingham Forest fixtures. So they have Ipswich in the FA Cup tomorrow. And then they have City. They have Ipswich again just before the international break. Then they got United, Aston Villa, Everton, Spurs, and Brentford just before we head into the final May stretch. They have us final game of the season, by the way. So that could be a very, very important game for both of us. I think Forest could drop some points these games. I think they can drop a couple points. They've shown they can be vulnerable recently. But at the same time, they can turn up and just flip the game on its head. It'll be intriguing. That City game, I feel like that City game will let me know how focused Forest are for this running. I really do think so. Because after the international break, they face Man United. And as we know, United aren't great right now. But it's United. So you can't count out United in a game like this. So Forest's fixture is looking It's looking Man City. So they have Forest, as I said. Then they have Brighton. They have Leicester. Then they have United, Crystal Palace, Everton, and Villa just before they head into that May stretch. And realistically, May, they have Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, and Fulham. They should be getting 9 out of 12 at least in that May stretch. So I think City will stay in top four based off this run. However, Man United, can you do something for me? Can you do Brighton? Can you do something for me? Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, can you do something for me? But look at that Man City stretch. I think City will stay in top four. Newcastle have West Ham, then they have the League Cup final against Liverpool, then they have Brentford, Leicester, United, Palace, Villa, Ipswich. Then in the May stretch, they have Brighton, Chelsea, Arsenal, everything. That May stretch for Newcastle, ooh, yeah. Between now and May, they need to get as many points as possible, bro. I'm looking at them like they can beat West Ham, they can beat Brentford, they'll beat Leicester. United, they should be. Past couple of years, they've been dominating United, so they should be beating United. Crystal Palace, I feel like Crystal Palace will give them a game if they can grab a point from that. Nah, but they're home though. They should be beating Palace. And that Villa game is intriguing. Both teams in the fight for Champions League football or Europa League football, depending on both teams' objectives. That'll be an intriguing game. Then they have the Ipswich, of course. That May running for Newcastle is so iffy to predict. Oh, keep an eye on Newcastle. So Newcastle and Forest. Those are the two teams right now that you really have to keep an eye on, fixture-wise. Bournemouth have Spurs, Brentford, Ipswich, West Ham, Fulham, Palace, and United before their May run. Then in May, they have Arsenal, Villa, City, and Leicester. 3 out of those 4 games are going to be tough. Really, really tough. The running until May isn't actually half bad. It really isn't. I think Bournemouth could stay in contention until May, but I do think they will drop off once we come to May. But okay, Bournemouth are another one that you can have a look at and be like, never know. But I do think they're just behind us, Newcastle and Forest. I think they're just the level below us. Brighton, realistically, I don't think Brighton would be with us this whole way through. They have Fulham, then they have City, then they have Villa, Palace, Leicester, Brentford, West Ham. And then in the May stretch, they have Newcastle, Wolves, Liverpool, Spurs. That May stretch itself is iffy. And the thing with Brighton is they are heavily inconsistent. They can lose big. They can win big. I don't think they'll be there with us. I think they're just a level below Bournemouth in itself. I really do think that. I don't think Brighton would be there. If anything, I'll give them same level as Bournemouth, but I don't think they'll be in contention for Champions League. Maybe they can squeeze Europa League or Conference League even. Conference League is still there as well. Fulham have United FA Cup today. Then they have, actually saying that, Fulham United. Lawrence will be streaming that. Make sure you're there for that one. He's going to be streaming that at 4:20, so be there. Then you have, Fulham have Brighton, then Spurs, then Arsenal, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Southampton. Then in the May stretch, they have Villa, Everton, Brentford, City. I can't lie. It's wraps for Fulham. It is so wraps for Fulham. That run, call it off. Call it off. Fulham, goodbye. God bless. You had a good run this year. I don't think they're in Champions League or Europa League contention. Maybe at most Conference League, but they are definitely in the tier below Bournemouth and Brighton. Last team but not least, Aston Villa. Aston Villa's run, they have Club Brugge in Champions League. Then they have Brentford, second level Club Brugge. Then they have Brighton, Forest, Southampton, Newcastle, and City. Then in the May run, they have Fulham, Bournemouth, Spurs, United. That's a very, very tough run for Villa. Can Villa be consistent? I'm looking at Marcus Rashford and Asensio and how they have changed Villa's fortunes, how they've been playing, how Emery stuck it out. But they lost 4-1 to Crystal Palace, drew to Ipswich recently, lost to Wolves, They did draw to Liverpool. They beat us, but beating us is not an achievement, guys. That is not an achievement. Yeah, man. I've been seeing Villa fans. They're there like the system has worked, and then Emery just switches it up randomly for no reason. So it's an iffy one, and these fixtures are iffy. I do think Villa at the same level as Bournemouth and Brighton. I think they'll be fighting for Europa or Conference League. I don't think they'll be getting Champions League. So the main three teams to watch for Champions League, in my opinion, well, top four are Forest, City, and Chelsea, and that would be the top five. I do think. And Newcastle, I can't forget Newcastle. So three of those four would be in top five, would be in the Champions League next season. So that's a bit of an iffy one. So after seeing all those fixtures, do I think we can get Champions League? Yes. Yes, I do. Just gotta get at least 4 points out of six when between the Arsenal and the Spurs game, I reckon. I think we will beat Leicester. If we can get 4 out of 6 and then build a nice steady run of fixtures before you fight the big guns again, then I do think we can get top five and reach Champions League. But that also means I need Enzo Maresca to not be as rigid in the system. I don't need him to be stubborn. I need him to be focused and flexible. I need the players to put their hair out there. I'm seeing people the Chelsea players doing like that, Neto and Cole. I can't lie. I'm seeing Chelsea fans be like, "Oh, you're just doing that to your fans because you can't take criticism." I can't lie to you. Yeah, I get why the players did that. I cannot blame them. I also do get why the fans are angry. But I feel like you don't go at the players. Like you can say some players aren't good enough, but you don't like. There's a difference between constructive criticism and then just spouting a lot of bullshit on those players. So I do think there is a limit. We had the protests last week before the Southampton game, and I do think I get why they're doing the protest, but I think they protested the wrong thing. I do think that I think they should have gone for the directors themselves and Igbali, but they were out here going for Bowley. But as we know, Bowley has taken a step back. He isn't the main face of Chelsea more. It's Clear Lake and Igbali, and the directors are under Igbali. So I do think they're directing their frustrations at the wrong people. And even then, I do think that our transfer strategy isn't bad. Like we've shown that we are very willing to spend. We spent 1.5 billion, bro. We're clearly willing to spend. We have no issues in spending. It's how we spend it, the personnel we spend it on. That's where you go at the directors for, not them actually not spending. You go at them for how are you spending it? Who are you spending it on? The players you're spending it on. When are you spending it? Like as we said, summer and January this year have been terrible for us transfer window wise. We've honestly fucked up our own progress with that. Well, if we get Champions League football, I can forgive them for that, and we just make amends this summer. But yeah, it's a big. This running is going to be tough. It's a big one. It is a big one. But yeah, protest wise, I do think I don't mind the transfer system or like going for young players because now with football nowadays you need a core that you can build on and fight for the next 10 years. When it came to the end of Roman's tenure, Roman and Marina didn't know what they were doing. They weren't building a team that had cohesion. They didn't have a style of play. With the directors, at least you see, okay, we're getting players here for a certain style of play. But sometimes I get why fans want experience, but at the same time, who's experienced that can fill in that role? You get me? Who's good enough for this role, for that role? And I get why they're going for young players at the same time, like the directors. So they can obviously build and whatnot. But sometimes you just need a bit of a balance. That's what it is. So I'll be so real with you. This is my last summer off Lawrence Stanley and Paul Stewart. If this summer goes wrong, call it off. Call it all off. But yeah, that's it for me, my peoples. I do hope you did enjoy this stream. As I said, I do think UCF football is there for us. So just fingers crossed in it. So make sure you follow the socials. Make sure you follow our Twitter, our TikTok. Make sure you look out for our content. Next week, Champions League football, so content will be there for us. So yeah, I do appreciate each and every one of you that did tune in today and that are following all the socials and are subscribed to YouTube. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Share the YouTube channel with your mates and whatnot. But yeah, until then, my people, love, peace.